Hi, this is Sridhar. Today I am going to explain you about the dbms underscore XML gen package. Basically, some of you are not familiar in generating the XML data of the SQL query. We normally generate the data from the select statement, but to generate it in XML format, we used to suffer how to create the XML data, how to convert the given data in XML format. For this, Oracle has a built-in dbms package that is called dbms underscore XML gen package. After completing this session, you will be very much familiar in generating the XML data from the given input query. So this dbms underscore XML gen package is used to convert the given SQL query, input SQL query, into a XML format. So the input will be the SQL query, that is the select statement, select star from employees or select star from departments, like that. The input will be a SQL query and the output will be in XML format. What are the data present in the SQL query, what are the columns returned in the SQL query, those columns are converted into the corresponding in XML format, and the results will be returned in globe data type. So this package is also similar to the dbms underscore XML query which was used earlier, but nowadays we are using this dbms underscore XML gen package. It will be very easy. Let me go one by one about the inbuilt methods available in XML gen package. There are several functions and procedures available here. We'll go one by one. I will describe you the syntax and also the examples. I have noted several examples for each and every methods. Let me go one by one. The first function is dbms underscore XML gen dot get XML function. The get XML function, it will accept only one input parameter. That input parameter is either query context or the input parameter is a SQL query. I hope you know about the SQL query. SQL query means just the select statement, select star from employees, select star from departments, like that. The input SQL query. But what about this query context? This query context is a handle which is created for the input SQL query. To explain you about this getXML of query context, you need to know about the third function. So let me explain this one also. This is another function, that is new context, which is created to handle the getXML and getXML type functions. This context handle is created for the given SQL query. If you want to create a context handle for the input SQL query, the syntax is the dbms underscore XML gen dot new context of the SQL query. The SQL query is the any select statement, select star from employees, departments, blah blah blah, like that. So the context handle is created by dbms underscore XML gen dot new context of the given input SQL query. So this is a context. So we have to assign this statement to a context handle, that is query context. So before generating this XML, you have to create the query context, and this query context can be created using the new context method available in the dbms underscore XML gen package. Recollecting this again, the getXML function is used to generate the XML document, and the return data type is globe, and it has two inbuilt methods available. One is dbms underscore XML gen dot get XML of the query context, where the query context is the handle created for the given input SQL query. dbms underscore XML gen dot new context of the SQL query, that is the query context. And the second method available for getXML is getXML of the SQL query. SQL query is a any select statement. Let me explain this program also. Since dbms underscore xml gen.getXML is a function, we can call this function in select statement also. I hope you know that a function can be called from select statement also. If there is no DML operations are performed, we can call the function in select statement also. Since dbms underscore xml gen.getXML is a function, we can call this function using the select statement. So for a simple example, I am generating the XML data for this given simple select query statement, that is select star from departments where department ID equals 10. Let me execute it separately. You can see the result. Department ID is 10, administration 200, location ID is 1700. So if you want to generate the XML data for the given input SQL statement, select SQL statement, you can use this dbms underscore xml gen.getXML function. So executing this, get the result. In the result, the output is preceded by glob statement, CLOB. Why? Because the return data type is glob. As we discussed here, the return type is glob. Since the return type is glob, we are getting the output preceded by the glob value. If you want to see the output clearly, you can see the result. Row set and row. Row means the starting of the first record, and the ending of the record is indicated by slash row angle within the angle bracket, and the row set is enclosed between all the rows. The row set is enclosed between all the successive rows, and the value is department ID is 10, department name, administration, and the manager ID and location ID. All are enclosed within the angle brackets of the corresponding column names, and the output is preceded by the glob, means it's a glob data type. Similarly, we can execute the same getXML function using plsql procedure. In plsql, we are assigning this value, that is, we are calling this function and assigning that function to a variable. We are calling this function dbms underscore xml gen.getXML of the select statement. We are calling this function and assigning, and the return value of the function is stored in a variable called result. Since the return type is a glob data type, we are declaring the result as glob, result glob, and we are printing the output of the result using dbms underscore output.put line. Executing this, see, we got the result. And for all the XML data, we will be getting this row set and row. Row set is enclosed from the start and the beginning. Row set is enclosed before the XML data start, and after the XML data ends, it is enclosed between the first and the last. And row is enclosed for every records. Angle bracket of row is enclosed for every records. If there are 2 rows, then we will be having 2 row and 2 slash row. And as I said, the getXML function can handle query context also. So let me explain about query context with this simple example. What is the syntax? The syntax is dbms underscore xml gen dot new context of SQL query. dbms underscore xml gen dot new context of the SQL query, any select statement. The same thing we have written here, dbms underscore xml gen dot new context of the select statement. Always the select statement should be enclosed within single quotes, you remember that. And assigning this new context method to a query context handle, and this query context handle should be declared in the declaration section. Query context is dbms underscore xml gen dot the context handle. So we have created the context. What we have to do next, created the context, and this context should be passed as an input parameter to the getXML function. So the next line is this context, query context, has passed as an input parameter to the getXML function and assigning the result to the result variable. Since the dbms underscore xml gen.getXML will return glob data type, we are assigning that glob data type value to the glob variable, that is result. Result is a glob variable. Result is a glob data type variable. Once you have created the new context, after generating the XML, you have to close the context. So closing the context of the query context. Query context is just a handle, context handle for the given select input SQL statement. After doing all these things, you want to print the result. So for printing the result, using dbms underscore output dot put line of the result. Now you are printing the result. So let me explain. Let me run this program, clearing the output. Run, completed. See, here I selected a different select statement. Select star from employees where department ID equals 30. So for department ID equals 30, whatever the records are there, it will be printed. Department ID equals 30. The first row is over, and for the second row, again within the angle bracket of row, it will start again. For each and every row, it will be separated. Gets separated as a row in the angle bracket. Department ID equals 30. Like that, it will print for all the employees whose department ID equals 30. Totally there are 6 employees under department ID equals 30. So the next inbuilt function is the getXML type. The getXML type and getXML both are somewhat similar, except the return data type is XML type in getXML, whereas the return data type is glob in getXML. So only this differs. This one differs, XML type, and here it is glob. Only this differs. Everything remains same. So here also we are generating the XML data by passing query context as the input parameter, and also by passing the simple select SQL statement as an input parameter. There are 2 ways in generating the XML. Sorry, here it should be getXML type. So here also we are passing query context as input parameter and also the SQL query as an input parameter. Everything remains same. So now we can execute for dbms underscore xml gen dot getXML type program. If you see, the getXML type is also a function, so we can execute this using the select statement itself. Execute this function using select statement itself, since it is a function. And the return type is XML type. Return data type is a XML type. So dbms underscore xml gen dot getXML type of the input parameter is a simple select SQL query. Select star from departments where department ID equals 10. You know what is the result? 10 administration. You're generating the output. Here the only difference is for .getXML, the output is preceded by glob, since it is a glob variable, glob data type, whereas here for this one, since the data type is a XML type, the glob name is not preceded in the output. So for department ID equals 10, it displays only one row. Department ID equals 10, administration, and manager ID equals 200. That's it. So similarly, we can execute this using plsql also. Since it is a function, dbms underscore xml gen dot get xml type is a function, we are assigning this value to the variable, and dot get xml type will return xml type. So the result should be of xml type data type. The result should be of xml type data type, and the dbms underscore xml gen dot get xml type of the simple select SQL statement. We are passing the select SQL statement as an input parameter to the dot get xml type function, and assigning the result to the result variable, which is xml type data type, and then we are printing the result. Here if you execute it, it will return error. The error is wrong number of types or arguments in call to put line. Means we can't print XML type variable. We can't print using dbms underscore output dot put line of the XML type variable. Here result is a XML type variable. You can't print the XML type variable. So to print the XML type variable, either you have to convert it into a varchar or glob data type. So to convert it into glob data type, there is an inbuilt method available, that is get glob val. Result is the XML type variable. So you have to convert the XML type to glob data type, and then you can print the result. Let me execute it again. Done. Sorry, clear the output. Again executing. Got it. We got the result. And the get XML type, the input parameter is, we have seen the program for only the SQL query. We can also pass the query context as the input parameter to get XML type. The following program shows that. First we have creating the query context. The query context can be created using the syntax. What is the syntax? dbms underscore xml gen dot new context of the select query, SQL query. dbms underscore xml gen dot new context of the SQL query. The same thing you have written here. dbms underscore xml gen dot new context of the select query. Select star from employees where department ID equals 30. And then we are assigning this value to the context handle. Assigning this value to the context handle, query context, and the query context is declared here. dbms underscore xml gen dot the context handle. Once the context is created, then we have to generate the XML using either get XML or get XML type. If you are generating the XML using get XML, then the result data type is glob. If you are generating the XML data using get XML type, then the result will be XML type data type. Here we are generating the XML using get XML type of the query context and assigning the result to the result variable. Since we are using get XML type, the result is, the return data type is XML type. So the result variable should be of XML type variable. So we have stored the result to the XML data in result variable, and then we have to print the result. So dbms underscore output dot put line of result. If you print only, if you return only the result variable, then you will get the error as we seen previously, wrong number or type to put line. So we have to convert the XML type to glob, and then you have to print the result. So we are converting the XML type to glob using get glob val. Whenever you are creating a context, you have to close the context after generating the XML. So you are closing the context using the method close context. dbms underscore xml gen dot close context of the context handle. Just like a cursor, whenever you open the cursor you have to close the cursor, like same like that. Just an example, whenever you create a new context handle you have to close that context handle. Let me execute this. Clear, run, output. Got it. The same output. There are 6 number of employees. Under department ID equals 30. The next one, I just want to show you about the cursor usage in dbms underscore xml gen package, but it is not the part of this inbuilt function, but it's better if you know this. The cursor of the select statement, if you use this cursor of the select statement in dbms underscore xml gen package, we can generate the output in XML format. The cursor of the select query inside the dbms underscore xml gen dot get xml. For example, if you face any scenario like you want to fetch all the employees of a particular department, you want to fetch all the employees first name and last name of a particular department ID in XML format. In that case it will be useful. I have written a sample program using getXML and getXML type. Both are same except the return type is differs. Let me execute this. Here you are fetching the department ID and the department name, and then all the employees who falls under that department ID and department name, where the department ID equals 10. So the output will be in XML format of the department ID and department name and all the first name and last name of the employees E whose department ID equals 10. Here we are writing a subquery and passing the result to the cursor function. Since it is getXML is a function, we can execute it using the select statement itself, and the parameter input parameter is a select statement. The select statement itself, the select statement contains the cursor function also, the cursor of the select first name and last name from the employees E, where the E dot department ID equals D dot department ID. It's a correlated subquery, so that we will get the result in XML format having department ID and department name and all the employees first name and last name who belongs to the department ID equals 10. Let me execute this program. Return type is glob, so the output is preceded by glob. For the department ID equals 10, we have only one employee, that is Jennifer Whelan. We can cross check this. Select star from employees where department ID equals 10. Yeah, there is only one employee, that is Jennifer Whelan. We got the output in XML format. We are getting only the first name and last name who belongs to the department ID equals 10. Similarly, we can execute the same using getXML type also. Both the outputs remain same. The only difference is in getXML the output is preceded by the glob, and the return type, since the return type is a glob data type, the output is preceded by the name glob. Here the output is not preceded by glob. There's only one name, Jennifer Whelan. Let me go to the next one. I have one more program which is having the context handle, generating the XML using the context handle, and we are inserting the result to a table, and then we are inserting the result to the table. Here we are creating a table called txml, and the column name is n, and the column data type is of XML type, and we are going to insert the value of XML type to the table txml. Let me create the table. Done, created. You can check it. t_xml is created, and the column name is n, and the data type is XML type. Now you want to generate the XML for the employees whose department ID equals 30. It will return more than one value, I guess. Let me run it. Yeah, it returns nearly 6 number of rows. There are 6 employees falls under the department ID equals 30. So the result, I want to convert the result into XML type and store it in a table called txml. So for this, I have written a simple plsql program. So using the context handle, we are doing that. First, what we have to do, we have to create a context and then pass that context handle to the getXML or getXML type function, and then we have to insert that value to the txml table. So first, let me create the context handle. How to create the context handle? Context handle can be created using the syntax dbms_xml gen of SQL query, dbms_xml gen dot new context of SQL query, and assigning this function to the context handle. The same thing we are doing here, dbms_xml gen dot new context of the select statement, and this statement is assigned to the context handle, and then here we have to declare the context handle. Query context is dbms_xml gen dot context handle. Once the context handle is created, that context handle is passed as the input parameter to the getXML or getXML type function. Here we have since we have declared the table and the column name as XML type, we are using getXML type, and the return type is of XML type. The return type of the getXML type function is XML type. So we are generating the XML using getXML type of this query context and assigning this function's return value to the result variable. So declaring the result variable as XML type. Once the XML data are generated and are stored into the result variable, that is, once this statement is executed successfully, we are closing the context. We no need to open this context because we got the output in the result variable. So once we got the output in the result variable, we are inserting that value of the result to the table t_xml. After inserting that value to the txml table, we are just printing the value for our reference. So how to print the value? Because it is result is of XML type data type. So XML type can't be printed using dbms_output.putLine. So to print the result, we have to convert it into varchar or glob. So here we are converting this result variable to glob. So result.getGlobVal, and then printing the result. Let me execute. Clear the screen. Done. So you got it. We can check it in txml table as well. I didn't use the commit statement. If you want, you can include that commit in after inserting the value. totally 6 employees under the department ID equals 30, and all the results are displayed in the output. And the entire result set is enclosed under row set, and for each and every row a separate row tag is enclosed. In the next session I will tell you how to change this name, row set name, to user defined name. The next one is in the creating the context itself, dbms underscore xmlgen dot new context. We can create the context by simply passing SQL query as the input parameter. Till now we have seen that one, but we can also create the context by passing the sysref cursor. By passing the sysref cursor also. I hope you know about the sysref cursor. It's a weak reference cursor. We can pass this sysref cursor as an input parameter to the context, new context, and generate the context handle, create the context handle. This is an input program.